My name is Keelan. I'm the co-founder and manager of Hill Street Boxing Riverhead.
Hi Grant,
How you doing,
welcome
brother?
to the podcast Fitness is the Art of Life. That's how I call it, and that's how I believe fitness should be like. It's combining so many different venues of nutrition and movement and lifestyle and all that, and business for people like us who connected our lives with this business, with this adventure of promoting health and strength and fitness. So I'm very happy to have you.
Thank you for having me. I'm super excited to be here.
Yeah, I was very excited because my friends told me like, oh, do you hear about this new gym? And they were like, let's go all together to your open days. And I was very impressed. The class was great.
Thank you.
The experience was great. And that's definitely a new quality in Riverhead.
Yeah, absolutely. So we're super excited to be here. So we opened just about 3 weeks ago. So we opened our doors November 18th. We did 2 days, that Saturday and that Sunday, of completely free classes. The gym was super packed out, which was like super amazing, and it filled my heart to see everybody not only know that we're here, but be here, be with us, kind of join our family a little bit. Our original location in Southampton did so well throughout the 5 years they've been there that the two owners of the gym, Avery Crocker and Thomas Hania, were super excited to expand into Riverhead and kind of start a new journey here. So now we're here. We're super excited. It's been great. The outcome has been great. People love it. We're getting great feedback from people, so we're super excited to be here.
Yeah, that's awesome. I'm very happy for you guys because you're doing a great job. And honestly, the fame of the Southampton location like preceded you long time ago. I heard about your gym long time ago. I never been there in Southampton.
Yeah.
But I working in Riverhead. I work in Maximus.
Okay.
And people were talking about that gym for a long time. So
Yeah.
so definitely you were doing something really good there.
Right.
And I know some people that were going to the classes and they were having only good things to say.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I mean, our demographic in Southampton, unfortunately, is really just the Hamptons due to the high traffic and everything. People out here on the North Fork, Mattatuck, Greenport, Riverhead, have a hard time getting out there, especially during the summertime. So we see people here and there come from Riverhead, but it's not as often as they would like it to be. So when we were in the process of opening up a second location, we were trying to decide where. We thought where better than Riverhead. I went to Mercy right over here for high school, so I was super familiar with the area. So we were super excited to bring it to Riverhead. But yeah, we have a lot of people from that North Fork who are asking us honestly for years, like, you got to open a second gym. It's got to come to like Mattatuck, Greenport, and we thought that was a little far. We wanted to put it somewhere kind of in the middle, where whether you're from like Rocky Point all the way to like Greenport, it's still super accessible. So this was like the perfect spot.
Yeah. Geographically, it's a good spot for sure.
Yeah.
It's also a lot of people living in here, so that's
right. The great thing about Riverhead is it's a year-round demographic. So in the Hamptons, our summers are super duper busy, right? The Hamptons, it packs out. Everybody comes to their Hamptons home during the summer, but then during the winters and the spring and the fall, you kind of see that decline a little bit because everyone goes back to the city.
Right.
Here in Riverhead, it's a year-round crowd. Nobody, moves around. You stay here, so we kind of have a more year-round clientele here rather than Southampton.
Right. So you're bringing a new quality to Riverhead. It's a boxing gym specifically for boxing. And I have a question because this is very interesting for me, and also like I'm fascinated about the success of your company because a lot of the gyms, they're trying to be like so versatile and they try to have cycling and Zumba and this and that, and they keep bringing new things just to get people more attracted to their model.
Right, exactly.
And you have opposite.
Yeah.
You focus on just one thing.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's just boxing.
It's just boxing here.
And people love it.
Right. Yeah, I think the thing that people don't realize about boxing is everything in fitness. Okay, so people come to boxing and they think you're just going to learn how to fight or you're just going to... That's not what we do here. So we have a really great mix here. Avery and Tommy have kind of figured out this amazing class structure where in that 1 hour of that class or in a private session, you're going to learn the technique of boxing, the basics of boxing. You're going to get some type of cardio and endurance workout as well as a strength workout as well. So you go to something like a cycling class, you're only getting the cardio. You go to a strength class, we have everything. So in that hour, you're going to get everything. You could ask any of my clientele, you're not coming in here and just hitting a bag. Okay, you're going to be on the treadmill. You're going to be doing some type of calisthenics, some type of core work. There's always some mix. We also like to stick with what we're good at. So I'm not going to venture into something I don't know too much about. I don't know anything about cycling. I don't know anything about pickleball.
Right.
So why waste time on something we're not good at? We'd rather put our focus completely into something that we know and we love. So yeah.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah.
And honestly, the thing that I said when I came here with my friends and we did the workout, I said to them, it felt like 2 workouts.
Right.
Because
Yeah, I get that a lot.
We did conditioning,
Yeah.
and then we did boxing. So
Right.
first of all, the amount of it was pretty intense.
Yeah.
But it was literally like 2 different types of workouts in it.
Right. Exactly. Yeah. So the structure of our class is basically depending on the trainer, depending on the number of people. Let's say for an average class, you're about like 8 to 10 people. We'll go through some type of warm up. So for me personally, my warm up is 2 minutes on the treadmill, 2 minutes on jump rope, 2 minutes shadow boxing, and 2 minutes on the speed bag. Okay,
Wow.
so that's about like 2, 4, 6. That's about like 10 minutes right there, just warming up. But you're getting 2 minutes on the treadmill because people think like, well, no, you running on that treadmill for 2 minutes, you jump and rope for 2 minutes, you punch in the air for 2 minutes, and then you work in the speed bag. So right there, 10 minutes, you're already a little tired.
Right.
Then I'm gonna put you about 15 minutes of a workout. That workout, is not light. It's a tough workout. Okay, that depends on the day and everything. Usually trying to focus on lower body, upper body, maybe full body, maybe something specific. So that's 30 minutes, and then you're getting 30 minutes of bag work. That 30 minutes of bag work, is not easy either. So you're getting a full hour, and then I'll usually end with some core. I'll hold people late. That's my biggest pet peeve is I'll always hold people like 5 or 10 minutes over so I can finish with core. I can give them the few extra minutes. So you're getting beyond a full body workout. Your endurance is going up, your cardio, your strength, everything is getting worked. Also, as you're boxing, what people don't realize is you're using everything in your body. Your arms, your core, your lower body, everything is being worked. So it's a lot different than going to the gym and just hitting biceps. You hit biceps, that's it. Here you're hitting biceps, triceps, shoulders, delts, legs. You're hitting everything here. So
Yeah.
we have the ability to really put everybody's full body into function in an hour, 5 minutes.
Definitely a lot of health benefit from it. That's for sure. It's different from like bodybuilding style because you're not growing muscles much here, but you definitely get all the health stuff like your cardiovascular system, like mobility, speed, agility, all in it.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's a very good workout. That's for sure. So how about you? How did you get into boxing?
Yeah, so I started boxing when I was like 4 or 5.
Oh, really? That's young.
Yeah, I was really young, and that might not have been the greatest thing because when I was really young, I got a concussion when I was like 5.5 or 6.
Wow.
So my parents like pulled me out of it. It was actually wrestling and boxing. It was like a 2-for-1, and then some kid like kicked me in the eye. My eye swelled up. My head was like all jacked up. So I got taken out of that. And then I was a freshman at St. John's University in Queens, my first year in school, and COVID had hit. So I came home because they sent us all home, and I had always loved the sport of boxing, and at that time, boxing was really on the rise due to the social media, like influencer wave with your Jake Pauls and everything, and everybody hates on them, but I'm going to be honest, that's how I got put onto it big time, because I'd always played sports and whatnot. But I started seeing these guys boxing. I was like, yeah, this is sick. This is really cool. I could see this new wave coming in. So when I came home, I looked for a gym, and that was Hill Street Boxing. So I started just working out there. So that was like 4 years ago, almost 5 years coming up now. And then after some time of being in there for like 2 years, there was a position for the desk guy. They needed a person to work the desk. So I started working the desk and training full time and desking, and I was kind of getting the best of both worlds, where I was not only working out, but I could also learn from all the other coaches from standing behind the desk, listening to what they had to say as they're teaching a class. And then we're like 5 years in now, so it's pretty good. It's been a good 5 years.
That's awesome. I love this type of stories when somebody turns their passion into a job.
Yeah, it's cool.
Eventually.
Yeah, absolutely.
Something similar happened to me like almost 10 years ago when I got into kickboxing.
Right.
And I had nothing to do with kickboxing, but I was having very good background. I have a sports science degree. So I was like, I know everything about exercise. I just don't know this. And then there was this coach. He said like, you have a good foundation. I'll teach you how to kick and punch.
Right.
So I was like, wow, that's awesome.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. It's cool when things work like that. I always think everything's meant to be. Like, everything happens for a reason. So like for me, I was really upset I had to leave school. I was my first year as a freshman in college. I was super excited to be there, meeting all my homies and everything. And then I was like, I can't believe I got to go home. But it's crazy to think that if I didn't come home, like, none of this would probably have happened. You know, I wouldn't be where I am now. I'm super thankful for the people I've met, my bosses, my coworkers, the family that we've created. So it's pretty crazy to think about.
Yeah. So you were coaching part of the class that I took, and I really like your coaching style. I like the energy. Energy is great in your classes in general. That was super upbeat. It was very energetic, enthusiastic, encouraging.
Thank you.
All of this was on the spot.
Yeah.
And that also speaks that you receive very good mentoring from the other coaches.
Yeah, absolutely. So I give everything to the people I've learned from Avery to Tommy to Alan to Courtney to Nico. Those are all my, like, they taught me everything I know realistically. I knew a little bit before I came into Hill Street just from the experiences I had in the past. But the way that I learned is the energy you give is the energy you'll receive. So when I come into a class, if I don't have great energy, the people in the class aren't going to have good energy. If I'm walking in tired, like, so I'm like, all right, guys, let's do it. Like, nobody's going to want to be there. And I wouldn't want to be in a class like that either. If I just paid good money to go to take a class and the trainer or the coach or whoever has horrible energy, they don't want to be, I'm not going to want to be there either. So I've learned that people work their ass off for their money. For them to come in here and be willing to spend it with me and this brand that we've built, it means a lot to me, so I'm going to give them 110% every second I can.
Wow, I love it. That's very meaningful.
Yeah, thank you.
That's very meaningful attitude towards your customers.
Yeah, absolutely.
But it's also like you talk about as a community. We share the passion for being active and healthy, and I think that's important to have the appreciation for this common mutual factor that we have.
Yeah, absolutely, 1,000%. Yeah, energy is everything. I also love fitness. I think it's a super important thing. I love sports my whole life. So finding this kind of route, and you also make so many good connections in this business, not even financially speaking, but just people, some of my closest friends I've met through this industry, some of my like favorite people in the world I've met through this gym, you know? So it's a cool thing to be able to interact with people all day. That's another part. I'm a people person. I love to talk to people. I love meeting new people, just like how we met, you know? So it's cool. Every day a new face walks through that door, a new story, a new person, a new journey. So it's cool to think about.
Yeah, and talking about energy, you also have, I don't know if you learned it somewhere or maybe you're just so natural at this, but I noticed when I walked in and every other person after me, you had this great approach of greeting them and then making them feel welcome.
Thank you. Yeah,
and not all the gyms have it.
No, not at all.
Actually, not.
Yeah. I've been to a handful of boxing gyms, and that's no disrespect to any boxing gym because everybody has their own approach to everything. But the thing I've learned is that person behind the desk or that trainer, that's the first person you see when you walk in the door.
Yes.
So immediately if you get a grumpy person with a bad look on their face that doesn't want to be there, again, you're not going to want to be there. So the second somebody comes in, I'm a nice guy naturally, but I'm also going to go above and beyond to make someone feel welcome, like, hey, welcome. Because I've been to gyms for the first time, and it's intimidating to walk into a brand new gym that you've never been to, especially if you're trying something new. If you're trying boxing for the first time and somebody's looking at you with a weird, like, who is this guy? It's the worst thing ever. Then you're going to be nervous the whole time. I want people to know that we have a family and a community here, and everybody here are like, they're the illest people. Like, every person I know that comes in here, they have such amazing energy. They're the best people. They're the nicest, the sweetest people. And I want them to know I'm the same way. Like, don't be intimidated to come in here. Like, welcome. Like, welcome to our family. Because like I said, it can be this isn't like, you know, you're just going to the gym to lift weights. Like, these are people you have to interact with. You have to listen to what I say and what people are doing around you. So I want to make sure everybody in this environment is comfortable.
Yeah. I love it. It's very mindful.
Yeah.
Very mature also. Like,
yeah.
I would say that. But also, like, psychologically, people coming with so many insecurities. Like,
Absolutely.
And then in the boxing gym, there's another factor that comes to it, that there's a lot of partner drills.
Right. Yeah.
Which in other gyms you don't have this thing. And which also, like, it's when you break the ice at the beginning, so people feel more friendly. It's easier because, you know, they're just a different thing. Like, you work with the person, and it's like physical contact, and it's like this. This anxiety and enthusiasm, and then there's endorphins coming, so it's different. But I was gonna say something else also, that a lot of people, even though we all say like we love fitness and all that, but we all have these days that you just struggle to wake up and to put your
1,000%.
shoes in and go and on. So you all have like this, you going through this lack of motivation,
Right.
and then if you see that person in the door that's like, whatever,
Yeah.
they're like, this is what I was trying for.
Right.
So at least
Exactly.
this is like this first reward.
1,000%.
Okay, I did my effort. That's like entry, right?
Right.
And then you want to do it.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I think everybody struggles with going to work out. Myself too. I ran a marathon about like 3 months ago, and for a month and a half, 2 months after that marathon, I had no motivation to work out. And I'm not a big weights guy, but I love hitting a bag. I love to spar. I love hitting mitts. I love running, any type of like cross training I love to do. But after that marathon for like 2 months, I was almost in this like slump where I had no interest in working out. Maybe because you train so hard daily, for
Right.
6 months to prepare for such a big event. But what helps me always is train with a friend.
Yeah.
So my friend had to literally grab me and drag me back into the gym. Was like, come on, we're getting back into it. So now I'm slowly getting back into it. So for anybody that has that lack of motivation to go back in the gym, go with a friend. Grab somebody that'll motivate you to go into that gym. Like, I'm going to take the day off. No, you're not. Here we go. We're going together.
Yeah.
Or try some new training method. For me, I used to hate just lifting weights. I started boxing. Okay, I got a little tired of boxing. I was like feeling a little burnt out, so I started running a little more. Okay, now I'm splitting my time between boxing and running. Now I'm enjoying both of them.
Yeah.
So grabbing a friend to help motivate you, or just splitting the way you train. Maybe CrossFit is something for you. Right next door, we have an amazing place, gymnastics place, Gymnation. It's fun. I've gone and jumped in that foam pit every now and again. It's a cool, fun thing to do. So changing the way you do things can help the outcome of the way you want things to be.
Yeah, that's awesome. I think that's important to give people sometimes this little insights into the motivation. But yeah, accountability partner, huge.
Absolutely, yeah.
Huge help.
100%.
So are you guys planning here just to have like recreational boxing, or are you actually, is the profile of your business also tailored to produce athletes and boxers that are going to compete, be athletes, and then
absolutely
just go for the sport?
Right, yeah. So we have a great thing because we are the very low percentage of the demographic of boxing gyms that have the ability to split our time between fitness classes and a competition team. So we have a competition team here. It's run by Justin Matera, who's our head coach, who's one of the best coaches. So we have about 10 guys right now who are all looking to compete. A couple guys who have amateur boxing experience. One of our guys, Alexei, who's a kid from Ukraine. He's 15, and he's going to fight January 20th in Patchogue at Stereo Garden, which you can go get your tickets right now. Strong Island Fights. They just did a big video, and he's featured on there and everything. We were just in Manhattan with him. He had a big photo shoot going on. So we have our competition team that people can not try out for. People have been asking us about that. So to give people some information is if you want to join our competition team, you just have to send us a DM on Instagram or come down to the gym. Experience is not necessary, but it's definitely preferred. It's a little more of an advanced group to join. So if you're not super comfortable with just the basics, we recommend taking classes first. That will teach you the basics, and then you'll graduate into that. But like I said, we have our competition team, and then we also have our fitness classes. So if you don't want to get hit in the face, you take our fitness classes.
Right.
You know what I mean? You can come in, you're still going to learn the technique, you're still going to learn the basics, the fundamentals, what you need to know. And then there's advanced stuff in there too. So we have a really good split where we can do fitness if you're not interested in actually competing, and then we have our competition team that looks to fight in the amateurs and eventually move into the professional level as well.
This is awesome because that gives the members of the gym this feeling that there's endless potential to grow.
Absolutely.
Because you can advance from this one, you can get to the other one, and then in professional, there's no limits.
There's no limits at all. And people love it too. The thing that I love most about this gym is the openness, is the like aesthetic of the gym. So like on a Saturday or a Sunday, we'll have packed out classes here. There'll be like 15 people in class here. Then we'll have this ring filled up with our fight team guys. More guys in the back hitting the bags from our fight team. We'll have our kids class running over here. So people who are watching, what we'll literally have is adults take their kids. The kids are in here. The kids are watching the adults. They're watching their parents box. The parents are watching the competition team. And they're like, oh my gosh, I want to do that. That looks fun. as the kids are watching their adults, their parents, like, oh my God, that looks fun. I want to do that. And even vice versa. I have so many kids, like, 6 or 7, they get coached by Coach Doug. Doug is phenomenal. He's one of the best. They say to Coach Doug all the time, like, I want to be a fighter. I want to be a fighter. And they've never said it before they walked in this gym. So already their first or second time in here, they're inspired by these kids who are, they're young. They're 19, 20. And these little kids are looking up to them like, oh my God, I want to do that. That's sick. So it's cool because all these parents all the time are like interested in watching these guys sparring and like, I want to do that. Do you think I could compete? And I'm like, anybody can compete. Anybody can compete. But we're going to put you at a level where you're safe to do it. So we're not just like, yeah, go in there and let's see you move. It's like, okay, let's get you to a comfortable level and then we'll talk about it.
So you're working your way up. But
Right.
this is actually super clever. That's what you just described about this. And yeah, I like it. It's first of all, it's a very good business model.
Yeah.
It's working, and it's a lot of factors in it. It's motivating, it's encouraging.
Yeah,
and,
absolutely.
Yeah, and it has this spark of interest.
Right. Yeah, you want to bust your ass a little more when you're on this bag and there's somebody in here getting their like head turned around. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
From someone else's punch. So it's cool. That's my favorite thing about this gym is the aesthetic, especially when we open these garage doors on like a nicer day and people drive by and they see us and they want to come in and like check it out. It's a family here. I think that's the biggest thing. Is anybody is welcome. Anybody can join. Everybody in here is super close knit. I've already became very friendly. We've only been open for 3 weeks, and I've become very friendly, met a ton of people in just 3 weeks. In Southampton, for the 3-4 years I've been there, I've met the most amazing people, some of my closest friends, people I'll call mom, I'll call dad, I'll call brother, sister. I've met them there, so I'm trying to recreate the amazing place and the amazing family and community that Avery, Tommy, Alan, Courtney, Nico, and everybody has created over there. So that's what we're trying to do here is recreate that family.
That's awesome. It sounds like you have very good examples to follow.
Yeah.
And a lot of motivation.
Absolutely,
and
yeah.
you're a very ambitious person.
Yeah, absolutely. I appreciate it. Yeah, I think ambition's a big thing. Because this is people think, and I'm sure you know it too. People think as a trainer, your life's easy. Like you come in, train your person, go home. Yeah. There's a lot of stuff behind the scenes you don't see: the emails, the phone calls, the meetings. They're setting this up, making sure everybody's happy. That's the big thing. Is you got to keep everybody happy. Because once your staff isn't happy, their energy's off. Once their energy's off, they go to teach a class, they're in a bad mood. Like I said before, that person ain't going to come back because the trainer was in a bad mood. So making sure everybody's happy, making sure everybody's healthy, they're enjoying their job because it's a fun job. It's really great to see, the people when they get something, you're trying to teach them something, a combination or something like that, and they get it and they get that smile on their face. That makes me happy. So it's really cool to do things like that and be able to see everybody be happy and whatnot. So
that's awesome.
Yeah.
That's awesome. What I noticed also, it was a lot of women coming to class. In boxing, there's the stereotype that it's mostly guys like boxing.
Yeah, absolutely.
But it was actually more women than guys.
Yeah, absolutely. I think our demographic split is something where it's like 64% female. So our demographic is mainly women. I think in today's age, women want to know how to defend themselves. It's a very crazy world out there. So women look to defend themselves, and this is a great way to do it. Because you're killing 2 birds with 1 stone. You're learning how to fight, and you're getting that workout. So women look to, everybody wants to work out, everybody wants to be in good shape. So they're learning both in one. And it's also fun. Like, it's a fun thing to do to, like, go hit a bag, and, like, let out your stress, let out your anger. But, yeah, we do see a majority of women, which you're 100% right, because you think boxing gym, you think 100 big buff dudes in here just ripping bags, which I think deters some women because that's what they think. And they think, oh, that's a little intimidating or X, Y, and Z. Like, no, like, I'm telling you, I have plenty of females who could bust some people's jaws. Like, they're sharp, you know what I mean? They know what they're doing, and they're really motivated and committed, and they love the sport, too. So you're 100% right. Yeah, it is. It's a little, like, crazy.
And at the end of the day, it leaves them in amazing shape.
Right, exactly.
It's a lot of calories burned. And you're right. It's fun, and the time spent on the bags just go fast.
It does, yeah.
Like
it's a
when
quick
we were
hour.
doing this workout, like I was dreading the part that you do the core workout and abs and wind bike. That was exhausting. But once you get to this, it's like 5 minutes, 10 minutes, 15 minutes. Like when the time go, right?
Yeah, it's like I said, it's fun. It's an enjoyable thing to do. I always like learning new things, so learning something new, a new combination, a new defensive cue, whatever, a new technique. It's fun, it's enjoyable, and like I said, you're promoting health through it, your cardiovascular health, anything like that, people are gonna enjoy. And I have people who like look at the clock every now and again. They look over at the clock, they're like, "Holy shit, that went fast!" Yeah. And then it's because we keep it at a pace where we're not gonna make you do something boring for 45 minutes. We're keeping you almost entertained for that 30, 40 minutes.
You did change the combinations fast on the screens.
Right.
Yeah. So they had the two screens on the walls that were counting down the time for the exercises, and they were changing fast. What was it like?
Yeah.
Some of them were 30 seconds?
Yeah, so when we run our classes and we put people on the bags, if we have a large group of people, we understand that if I just call out a combination, someone might not hear me. There's music going on. Someone might be a little hard of hearing, or they're just on the far part of the bag. So Avery and Tommy came up with the idea of using our phones. We have an app that's like an interval app. So you can type in different things and have like a preset list. So we'll display them. We have two huge like 70-inch TVs in our gym. So no matter where you are on the bags, you can see those screens. So if I call out a 1-2 slip 2, right? If you don't hear me, you don't see me, you can look up at the screen and say, okay, I got it. Every combination is about 30 to 45 seconds. So you get it down in those first, 20 seconds. You have 20 seconds to perfect it, And then the next one comes up, because I've been in classes before where it's like, okay, throw your 1-2 for 5 minutes. And I'll sit down on my 1-2 all day, but I understand some people look for something a little bit more consistent, something more quantity, and learning more things. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, when I teach classes, like I found like people are more happy when things change faster.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I understand that completely. It's like anything. If you're really getting to that pro or amateur level, in any sport, you have to do the same thing over and over and over and over again. But I also understand not everybody in this class is looking to get to that professional or amateur level. Some people want to come in, learn the basics, sweat, and get out. So I'm not going to make them jab for 40 minutes straight. I'm going to give them different looks, and then they get comfortable with something, they'll go back to it and remember it a little bit more. So
what do you think would be the most fundamental exercise if you would have to pick up one for boxing?
Yeah. Oh man, that's a great question. Footwork for sure. Being able to fight with your feet instead of your hands is something that I learned is super important. So a lot of people fight with their hands. I think fighting with your feet is important. So a lot of that's not true. Every single punch you throw has something to do with footwork. You step with your jab, you're twisting and turning with your shot, slipping, distributing your weight, stepping off, stepping out of the way, stepping back, It has so much to do with footwork that people don't understand. And the amount of times people say to me, I didn't even think about how much footwork is in boxing. Because people watch boxing and they think it's just a brawl. They think these guys just lace up their gloves and the bell rings and they're just like, all right, I'm going to kill this guy.
Yeah.
It's such a chess game that people don't even realize how much. So I think if you're looking to get into boxing and maybe you want to start at home, look up simple boxing footwork drills. That'll get you on the right path, because throwing up here, this is a lot easier than trying to learn it down there.
It is. So I actually noticed, like when you were teaching a class, you were always having some instructions about what the feet are doing, and knees and hips are shifting, twisting and all that, but you had it kind of incorporated into the combination.
Right.
So you didn't break it apart.
No.
I once went to this workshop that they taped on the floor, this shapes
right
that you kind of walk like it kind of looked like this double cross kind of thing.
Exactly.
And I was so tired from it.
Yeah.
It was just crazy because we were just taking steps back and forth, and then a twist and a 90 degrees rotation.
Absolutely.
And I was like, where is that fatigue coming from?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, your footwork has a lot to do with them. What people don't realize is when you're turning with your punches, stepping in, you're shifting all of your weight into that punch. So you're not just moving just your arm now. My arm's 60, 40 pounds. You're not just shifting this. Now you're shifting all 175 pounds, 200 pounds, whatever it is, every single punch. So it is very tiring. And that's why some of in my personal opinion, boxers are some of the best, in shape people, because they have to go 12 rounds with somebody punching them in the face for 3 minutes a round, shifting their weight, moving their head, walking back, walking forward. Like, if somebody could put their hands up like this and go like this consistently for 12 rounds, 3 minutes, I'll give them $1,000 because they couldn't. So people get
Well, let's just count how much time it is. 12 times 3.
yeah,
That's a long time.
it's a very long time,
and those are all very intense periods.
right, exactly.
And people don't realize also that just the fact of being against somebody raises your heart rate.
Yes, absolutely.
And
The adrenaline is
it's
ridiculous.
Just crazy.
100%.
So just standing there and your heart is pounding.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, some of the best people I've ever met. One of the best MMA fighters on Long Island, a very close friend of mine, Nico, who's fought 5 times in the amateurs in MMA and is one of the like most amazing people ever. He's been fighting his whole life, but he tells me like he still gets that adrenaline when he goes to fight. He's been fighting since he was 4, 5. But that adrenaline kicks in and you have what we call an adrenaline dump. Those first few seconds of that fight, you're going to go crazy and your heart's going to be beating. You're going to be jumping all over the place and there goes half your gas tank right there. You know what I mean? So you have to have the ability when you get into the ring to go spar, to fight, to hit a bag, to take a deep breath, relax yourself, right? Relax, calm, and then go back to. Because also when that adrenaline kicks in, there's nothing up here. There's everything, all the technique you learn has gone out the window. Everything is here now. Now you just swinging crazy. You know what I mean? Even when our guys spar here or they have fights, when they come to our corner to get water, you know, the timer goes ding, 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 we take their mouthpiece out, and I always tell them 3 deep breaths. You got to give me 3 deep breaths before you get water, because when you're panting and then you're looking for water and someone's trying to tell you something, the crowd's going, it's too much.
What's the time between the rounds?
So it depends on the level you're at. It's either 30 seconds or a minute normally. In pros, I'm pretty sure it's a minute. Here we do 30 seconds to kind of push our guys a little bit more. But 30 seconds or a minute, which is not a lot of time to recover. Can I say the least?
3 minutes?
Yeah, if you do a 3-minute fight against someone who's pretty competitive, and then you have 30 seconds to like get your water, get your breath, and listen to your coach, it's a tough 30 seconds. That's not easy.
It's definitely high intensity interval training.
Yes.
Where you have the time of work is 6 times longer than the time of rest.
Absolutely.
It's crazy.
That's what I try and recreate here is some of the finishers we do on the bags. You know, when we have like 5 or 4 minutes left, we'll end with some high intense stuff on the bags. I'll always try and get my finishers to be 3 minutes to recreate that professional fight. To be like, here's 3 minutes of non-stop bag work where you're going as hard as you can. I'm like, this is what these guys do. And now do that 12 times.
So you physiologically prepare your athletes to the type of effort they might have encountered in the professional.
I'm trying to expose it to them before they go in and get exposed to it. You know what I mean? I'm trying to give them a heads up like, hey, it's a tough sport to say the least, you know?
It is. All the boxers that I know ever met, they were in great shape, very athletic guys.
Absolutely, yeah. The difference I've learned, and it's no disrespect to any other sports, but you can get seriously hurt in this sport if you're not in shape, if you're not ready, if you're not mentally there, if you're not physically there, you know?
But even if you are in shape, you're still going to get hurt.
Oh, absolutely.
It's a combat sport.
Yeah. The only injury I've ever had was I had a 2-inch laceration in my spleen from a sparring session. I had mono at the time, and I didn't know I had mono, so when you have mono, it enlarges all your organs. So I was sparring this guy out in Southampton who was like 220 pounds and just landed a great jab to my body. And I was like, all right, that was a good shot. And then like the next morning, I couldn't like bend over or anything. I went to the hospital. They're like, yeah, your spleen is just like about to burst. And luckily I was all good. But then, you know, I kind of woke up a little bit. I was like, all right, I got to, you know, this is some serious stuff. But I've seen people get seriously hurt in this sport. You know, it's a shame. But also, like, when you get in that ring, you kind of know what you're putting yourself into. It's different than missing a layup or, you know, swinging out or, you know, whatever it is. It's just, it is what it is. But also, that's kind of what boxers, you know, people in combat sports, they live for. They love it.
Yeah, but like we said, there is a choice. You don't have to fight against somebody. You can just do the fitness part.
Absolutely.
And in that, actually, I was very impressed because you mentioned that you are, what, 23?
22.
22 years old, and you are so mindful about the form and not getting injured. That this is something that's supposed to prolong your health.
Yeah, absolutely.
Not impede it in any way.
Right.
And then you mentioned about the rotators and everything. That's a very good mindful attitude. And I think when the instructors really put a lot of emphasis on this, that just serves the whole community.
Yeah, I think form over everything, technique over everything. Because like you said, one little injury, one wrist injury can set you back so much to where it's never the same again. Then you can't come hit a bag and do what you love to do. So, you know, some people focus a little more on X, Y, and Z. I like to focus on A, B, and C, your form, your technique. making sure you know the basics. So when somebody walks in here for the first time, people look sharp instead of like swinging their arms like this, so they're not like, oh my god, what's going on in here. Everybody looks content and form. But I've also learned from a really great trainer, Kevin Gleason, down in Florida, not to overteach. So I try and be mindful, not to like be like a hawk and watch like, oh well, this is wrong. That
Yeah.
like I try and teach it to where I'm gonna be helpful, not hurtful. In like, this is wrong, this is wrong, this is wrong. Like
Right.
I'd say like, this is great, this is great. Let's try and just tweak this a little bit, you know. So injury prevention is huge here. The first thing we ask people when they walk in this door is, do you have any injuries, limitations, anything major we got to know about? Because I'd hate to see somebody get hurt, not only in this gym but just in general.
That's
Because
right.
I know you probably have been, like I said about my spleen, I've had a handful of injuries where it sucks being set back X amount of time and then you can't continue to
And
do what you
especially
love.
we're talking about people who love to move.
Right, yeah,
That's
absolutely.
a huge part. Like, there's a lot of people that, you know, they don't like exercises, whether they are hairy or not. They still sitting in their on their couch playing video games.
Right.
It doesn't matter to them. But when you love it and you cannot do the thing that you do every day, that's really psychologically really heavy burden.
It is.
But also, like, people don't realize about injuries. I just have this personal training client that had this pain in the wrist for a couple of last weeks. And what that is, the doctor told him this is from his wrist being broken 30 years earlier.
Right, exactly.
And
yeah.
then 30 years forward, the arthritis started to develop in
Yeah.
the same spot. So people have to be mindful of these things because, you know, you're young, nothing hurts you.
Yeah.
You move forward 20 years and these injuries, they start causing pains and aches. And
1,000%. Those injuries never go away. It's the thing I try and tell people is, if you bust your wrist up or you bust your shoulder and then you have surgery, it gets fixed or whatever, just heals by itself, that shoulder won't be the same. It's not going to be the same. Even if it feels the same, 10 years down the line, it's not going to feel the same. I promise you that. So be mindful of your, you know, your body, and you got to treat it like a temple.
Right.
Yeah, exactly. Treat it well, it'll treat you well.
it's your vehicle to your life.
Right,
If
exactly.
you break it,
Right.
the ride is not going to be so
Exactly.
smooth
And unfortunately, you can't go buy a new body like you go buy a new car.
That's
you
right,
know?
that's
So, yeah, you got to be very mindful of it. Absolutely.
What was the biggest physical challenge that you ever endured?
That's a great question. Probably my left knee. I fucked up my left knee right before this marathon I was about to run about like 4 months ago. My kneecap was 3 inches out of place.
Wow.
So I was dealing with this knee pain. It was one day from just like running on the street. I was super like anti-stretching, anti-anything before I was running. So I would just go out on like 8-10 mile runs, no stretch, just lace up my shoes and go. So I ended up like tearing my left knee apart. The kneecap was out of place. I thought maybe something was wrong with like my ACL or MCL. Did all the MRIs and everything. They said it was clean, but I was about 4 weeks out from a marathon.
Wow.
And for those who don't know, a marathon isn't physically grueling, it's mentally grueling. Like, it was a very difficult thing to do, but prior to it, I was 6 weeks out, my kneecap's out of place. I'm running it with my best friend Anthony, and I almost had to tell him, like, I can't run it. I got this team of people, Keelan Glitton, who works at Southampton, and here too, the most amazing stretch and mobility personnel like in the business. I have a new massage therapist, Olivia, she's phenomenal, and Dr. P out in Sag Harbor, who's a physical therapist. I was working with all of them 5-6 times a week, trying to like shift this thing back into place, because you can't just click it back, unfortunately.
Yeah.
I was wearing knee sleeves, I was icing, stretching every day. So I was like mentally like, I'm not going to be able to do this marathon. I was training for so many months. I was like 6 weeks out. I was like, all that training is going out the door. And then after about 3 or 4 weeks of that, it was slowly starting to shift back into place. Wasn't 100% there. Started going back to it. Had like 2 more weeks of training. Was wearing the knee sleeve. And then we did the marathon. It was great. Everything was fine at the end. It hurt a little bit. But that knee still bothers me. Like we said before, those injuries never go away. This knee still bothers me a little bit. But it was more of like a mental thing where I was just like, I'm not going to be able to do this. I'm going to upset my best friend. We're going to ruin these 4 or 5 months of such hard training we've been through. And like I said, it's still something on my mind all the time is this knee. Like, I got to be very cautious of this knee. So it's tough.
Yeah. That's why we really do have to respect our bodies.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, you got to stretch. You got to stretch. That's it at the end of the day. I learned the hard way. You have to stretch before you do any time. In the morning, like take 5 minutes, go stretch. You go look up on YouTube, easy stretches. Five easy stretches, and it'll just help you so much. Or yoga. Yoga too, I hear is great. I'm going to try and tap in with yoga, but people say it's great.
That's interesting that you said the marathon was more mentally challenging for you than physically.
Yeah, absolutely. You get to a point in a marathon where you just don't want to do it anymore. Running, 26.2 miles is unbearably boring. We ran in like Babylon. It was a few months ago, and we've done half marathons before, so you get to 13 miles, like, okay, I've done that. The most running we did during our training, I think, was 10 miles, which is like unheard of. When you're training for a marathon, you're running 20 miles at least during that training. We didn't. We ran, the most we ran was 8, because that was the plan that a coach had given us, and we're like, okay, we're going to trust it. So we get past like mile 13 or 14, and after you came to mile 13, you did 13 to 20, was just one long straight shot. So it was 7 miles there and 7 miles back of just straight nothing. Like, it was on by Gilgo Beach. So Gilgo Beach is out in Deer Park. It's just literally one long strip. You can't see the beaches. It's all covered by woods and everything. So you're just running straight for 14 miles. There's no nothing. There's no like nice view. So those 14 miles, you're literally like, I'm going to quit. I don't want to do this. I'm exhausted. I'm tired. We're running next to the beach, so the wind, it was like 40-mile-an-hour winds that day whipping us in the face. So you're running against the wind, tired, exhausted, mentally drained. Like, you're just like, I just don't want to do this anymore. Like, this is not fun. Like, I don't enjoy this. Then you finally get to the end of it, and you're like, all right, oh, no, you got to come straight back and hit that straight line again for another 7-8 miles, and then do another 8. Like, the numbers start adding you up. You're like, fuck, this is not it anymore. You know what I mean? But you can be in the best shape of your life. It's always going to come down to the mentality of like, I'm going to finish this, or I'm done with this. I don't want to do this anymore.
Right. But to me, it's still incredible that, you know, the legend says that the first guy who ever ran marathon, he ran it and died.
Right, yeah.
And now we're living in the times that, like, let's say average, like, pretty fit person, after, let's say, a year of training, can do it.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. I think
we as a human race, we improved incredibly.
1,000%. Modern technology has helped us improve our physicality so much. I ran in a pair of, like, the Nike, like, Vapor Flies. I think they banned them in the New York City Marathon because they're so helpful. Like, the boost and the technology in them is so amazing. But it's true, like, we've came a long way since, you know, back in the day, since people were, I know they call it a marathon because it was, like, back in Greece, I think they called it a marathon because the town was called Marathon, right? And the guy ran 26.2 miles to, like, warn them that they were coming for a war or something like that. But,
he died.
Right, exactly. He died. I thought I was going to die, too. I have videos of me, like, finishing, and I just, like, we just, like, collapsed, you know what I mean? And the next, like, 2 days, you can't move. Like,
so what did you do immediately after? Did you just lay down and
or
start hydrating? What was the recovery procedure?
So as soon as I crossed the line, I screamed. Like, I just started screaming. I was so happy to be done. Like, I couldn't believe that we were done. But we finished, and the first thing they give you, there's a bunch of people there with hydration because you're super dehydrated. We carried Camelback backpacks that have water, but those were like had been long gone and finished and drained. So as soon as you get there, the first thing they give you are like bananas for potassium and water to rehydrate. There's like Gatorade, X, Y, and Z. You go into like a big tent and they have like carbs, they have like bagels and things like that. The biggest thing for me was a chair. I couldn't wait to sit down. I was so excited, like just sit down. So I sat down. Soup was big because it was cold. It was like 40 degrees outside, 50 degrees with wind chill. Bagels, sugar, water, and bananas. And then after that, just a lot of rest. Like I went home, took a shower, and just slept for like 15 hours after that.
Did you have the burning feeling in your lungs for a while after?
I had the burn. I was also super nauseous. I didn't realize how dehydrated I was. I was so nauseous for like a day and a half that I didn't want to eat anything, and I was so like drained. I lost like 8 pounds after the marathon. Like during and after the marathon, I lost a ton of weight from how much I sweat. I wore a sauna suit during the run. I wore like a sauna suit jacket, so I was like drenched. And then I couldn't eat anything because I was so nauseous because I was so dehydrated. And I looked up like, why am I still nauseous? So I took a bunch of hydration packets and I felt a lot better. But yeah, those next few days, they were rough. They were not fun. Coming back to work.
Soreness. Where was the soreness located mostly?
Knees. My knees were.
Even joints.
Yeah, my knees were super torn up. My back too. My Camelback was so freaking heavy. I put way too much water in my Camelback, so I was running with like 6 pounds on my backpack.
Right.
So my back was super sore, my knees were super sore, my hip flexors were like ripped. So I couldn't walk for like 2 days. It was like,
how about calves? What muscles?
oh man, good question. Yeah, the calves were definitely sore. But honestly, more than anything, the joints, the knee joints were like I said, my left knee was already banged up prior. So going into it, it just got even worse. But yeah, even my thighs were super, my quads were super shot, the hamstrings were shot, all my legs were shot. Arms were pretty good except for that upper back. The upper back was like, yeah, that was torched for sure.
Wow.
Yeah.
That sounds like very, very impressive physical challenge. Good
Yeah,
job. Congratulations.
I appreciate it. Yeah, it was good. It was fun. I'd never do another one. My buddy's already calling me like, let's do another one. I'm like, fucking no. I'm like, I'll do a triathlon or something like that, but I'll never do another marathon again.
You can already put it in your resume.
Yeah, that's all I wanted. I just wanted it on a piece of paper that said I did it. That's really it. But it was good.
Good job, man.
Yeah.
Good job. Well, I had a great pleasure talking
Yeah,
to you.
thank you so much,
Thank you
man.
for sharing with us like all the information about the new place.
Yeah, absolutely.
Like
Thank you for coming down. If anybody's interested, we're down here, 1074 Pulaski Street, Riverhead, New York. You can find us on Instagram at @HillStreetBoxing_, or you could just download our app, the Hill Street Boxing app. You can sign up for classes right on there. See our full schedule, who's teaching, description of the class. You can find it on there. The first class is for free, Riverhead and Southampton, so you could come try us out for completely free.
Awesome.
All right?
Thank you.
My brother, good to see you, man. All right, awesome work.